Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This video is the final episode in the three-part series of my trip to the Victorian High Country. If you saw the last episode, you'll know that I ended up coming back across the mountains into Dargo late at night, which was quite an adventure, and was very relieved to arrive at the Dargo pub for a good meal and a friendly welcome. So on this last day, I'm heading back to Jindabyne from Dargo, and the plan was to head up through the Alpine National Park, which was going to be dirt all the way, before coming out at the top of the range and having a look at Hotham Heights before heading on towards Bright. It wasn't too long before the road turned to dirt, and I was pleased to see a fellow rider out on the road. He must have started off fairly early that morning, because I still had a few good hours to go before I got out to the other side of the national park. As usual, it was only when I lost traction that I remembered to put it back into off-road mode, so I pulled over to do that. I'm guessing in preparation for the upcoming ski season, the roads have been getting a lot of work, and I've got to say those freshly graded roads can be pretty greasy in the morning. The road was definitely a lot better than the road I'd taken down to Dargo through the mountains, and I saw a lot of work vehicles on the way. I've noticed that the further remote you are, the more likely people are to wave at each other as they pass, probably because it's more important to help each other out when you're more remote. The GoPro never seems to show it, but people always seem to return the wave. The higher you get, the sparser the vegetation is, but there's a raw beauty to this part of the world, and I found myself really enjoying this part of the trip. The scenery was getting better and better, and I was a bit sad to see the end of the dirt as I came out the top end of the Alpine National Park. But I'd heard that the twisties from here up to Mount Hotham and back were pretty amazing, so I was looking forward to that. I can't speak highly enough for the Continental TKC80 tyres. They are absolutely amazing off-road, but on this sort of twisty tarmac, they handle almost as well as road tyres. It's not quite the same precise level of feel you get from the road tyres, but you certainly get plenty of grip, and I was able to really lean into these corners. This early morning fog was pretty epic, so I had to pull over and take a few more shots of the bike. It was still pretty early in the morning, and I was treated by an absolutely amazing sight. The feeling of riding a motorbike through this kind of moving sky is hard to describe. Just the sense of flying and effortless speed is pretty intoxicating. Like most winter sport destinations, there's really not much to see when there's no snow around, and Hotham Alpine Village was no exception. And I didn't spend much time there before turning around and heading back down the Great Alpine Road towards Bright. Well, if I'd thought the twisties were good on the way up to Hotham, they were even better on the road back down to Bright, and running through these bends was one of the highlights of the trip. As I got lower and lower, the temperature started to get warmer and warmer, which was very welcome. I don't know where they get the energy, but these cyclists had come up probably from the town of Bright, which was a good 20 or 30 kilometres further ahead, and who knows how many metres elevation they'd come up. The town of Bright itself was surprisingly scenic, and I found myself relaxing by the river enjoying some excellent fish and chips before getting back on the bike and heading onwards towards Jindabyne. This next part of the journey would take me on a road I hadn't been on before, which is going into the Kosciusko National Park from the other side. Coming along the Murray Valley Highway, I was amazed to see how much water there was in Lake Hume, and there are periods of the ride where I had water on both sides of the road. I finally found myself approaching the Snowy Mountains again, and I was on my way towards Kosciusko National Park. My eye was caught by a hydroelectric station, so I pulled over to take a few quick shots. Amazing to see all that free power. The Alpine Way is not as spectacular as the Great Alpine Road, but it's a very quiet, beautiful forest and lots of slow speed twisties to have some fun with. You can imagine how rough life must have been for these early people in this area, with places named Dead Horse Gap and that sort of thing. Just like Hotham, Thredbo Village is nothing much to see when there's no snow around, so I didn't waste too much time there and carried on towards Jindabyne. Well, that was the end of my Victoria High Country adventure, and I have to say it's one of the best rides I've ever done. I'll definitely be back again, and a big shout out to the friendly people at the Jindy Inn. I'll definitely be staying there again as well. See you guys on the next adventure.